As we discussed earlier, a long-term lease will increase your company's financial liability and decrease its flexibility. A good way to mitigate that issue is with an early termination right, which is also known as a cancellation right, and it gives you, the tenant, the right to terminate the lease before the term is ended. This right is entirely to the benefit of the tenant. Therefore, landlords are never in favor of this. As a result, there is generally some type of fee required in order to exercise this right. That fee is normally calculated one of two ways. The first is called unamortized costs. For example, legal fees and tenant improvements. When the lease is signed, the landlord will amortize these costs on their financial books over the life of the lease. Let's say, for example, you sign a 5-year lease and the landlord spends $50,000 and it's agreed it'll be amortized on a straight line basis. If you exercise an early termination right halfway through the lease, then you would be required to pay the landlord $25,000 if the fee is unamortized costs. Another simpler way to calculate the fee is to agree on some number of months' rent. In that case, if you exercise the termination right, you would pay, for example, the equivalent of 3 months' rent, or whatever it is that you negotiate. Finally, sometimes the fee is a combination of the two, so the fee would be all unamortized costs plus some number of months' rent. The main thing to remember about an early termination right is that it increases your flexibility and decreases your potential liability because it allows you to end your lease much earlier than what's stated in the lease contract.